Many of us had fun with these forwards that we have received, where you remember the popular one where you have the vase in the white and the faces in the black looking at each other, or the other way around, you have two faces looking at each other, and because the space in between them is looking like a vase, depth perception, the stare experiments, etc. You remember these? These are all perceptive or perception experience, or visual perception or depth perception experiments that psychologists have been doing for a long, long time of how we see things. So that's one way to understand perception, which is how are our eyes registering these things in our environment and making sense of it. And the spatial intelligence, the intelligence around depth, etc. Several things play a role in this. In fact, Gestaltians do a lot of experiments around these. But that's not the only perception that we have. The perception that we also have is how we are making sense of the world around us, how we are perceiving that. Are we registering everything the way it is, or are we interpreting the world the way we want to? And in many cases, our perception is actually lying to us. A good 80, 90, 95%, maybe even 100% of the times, we are not understanding the world the way it exactly is, but we are understanding it the way we want to interpret it. Sometimes it's interpretation using convenience, like you call someone trustworthy because they are dressed neatly, or they talk like you, or they come from your community, or you say that there is a certain choice that you can take because it seems to be the easy choice, or there are many people who prefer complex solutions over simple solutions because they think simple solutions won't work and complex solutions are better. These are all matters of perceiving the world around us, situations, solutions, etc., based on our values, based on our internal recording, our conditioning, our life conditions, our learnings, the messages that we have given, etc. And that's the part of the perception that we really need to be careful of, because in most cases, we are very irrational. In fact, there are so many researchers, and one of my favorites is Dan Ariely, who says, predictably irrational, and that's how human beings are. We are fundamentally very, very irrational. And a lot of that irrationality boils down to the way we perceive the world and we make meaning. And I'll give you 7 very simple ways to understand this, of how our perception is lying to us and what do we need to do with it. Let's start from here. The first place from where we perceive the world is our own position of being secure or unsecure in life. If we feel physically secure, if we feel emotionally secure, if we feel mentally secure, what does that mean? Physically secure means being in a safe place, being strong enough, being healthy enough, being capable of taking on certain challenges, like you're walking through a crowd and you feel that you're physically confident to walk through that crowd, you can take care of yourself. Or you are going to a new place, like in the mountains or the hills, and you are healthy enough to manage in that environment, or you are participating in a competition and you have trained well. All of these is the mental perception of your physical strength. Or our mental strength is about our education, our trade skills, our experience. Our emotional skills is where we feel calm and settled and secure. We don't have fears and worries about our life, our finances, our loved ones, etc. If we are secure, then we will view the world as secure. If we are insecure in our own lives, we will see the world with our lens of insecurity. And that's the first place where our perception lies to us. And almost all of us have some or the other insecurity that we have. Even if you're successful, even if you're very well to do, even if you're very wealthy, you may have this whole feeling of others trying to pull you down, or scheming against you, or politicking against you, or working against you. That can create a lot of perception related issues, right? So that's the first place, the security oriented issues. The second place where a lot of these perception challenges come from is our own identity, our own self concept of who we are, what we can do in terms of being creative, in terms of expressing ourselves, in terms of our own sexuality, in terms of our own body concept, in terms of our own way of relating with the world, the way others look at us, the others perceive us. and our presence, our choice of colors, our ways of expression, etc. If we are insecure about our own self concept, our own identity, our own appearance, our own language, our own ways of expression, our own sexuality, then again the way we will perceive others will be coming from there. Many times we have seen our friends who are shy to talk to others, who are reluctant to come into public. Much of that challenge is coming from here because they perceive those situations as uncomfortable, threat provoking, etc. Again, in either one of these two cases that I spoke about, whether it's the security issues or your self perception issues that you have, you will need to work on yourself, your own confidence, your own concept. Help is available through coaches, counselors, therapists, spiritual gurus, friends, families, people who are experienced in this space, who have overcome these challenges on their own, support groups. Work with them and understand what you can do and overcome these. And that's where both of these are typically just sitting in your mind and in some life conditions which you need to resolve. The third place where our insecurities, or rather our perception issues, are born are our action orientation towards life. What we do, how we do things, our preferences of action, our preferences of working, our preference of the vocation that we have, the work that we do, right? So a person who likes to work slow may not perceive somebody who works really fast as that positive, or someone who's moderate ambition may see somebody who's with high ambition as a threat, or somebody with a high ambition may see somebody who doesn't have a lot of ambition as lazy. So there are these perception challenges that come from our own concept of how action oriented that we want to be. There are people who like to think before they act, and they don't like people who like to act immediately. Whereas the people who want to act immediately, they tell the people who are thinking a lot that you are in the paralysis of analysis, right? And there are these jibes that keep on happening. So action orientation is the other place where our perception challenges come up. If you have action orientation challenges and perception challenges with others, here is where you need to understand that every individual is different. Every individual brings their uniqueness. And that uniqueness is something that you need to understand and work with so that you can coexist. So reading about psychology, sociology, anthropology, and anthropology is where you understand cultural dimensions, can really help. Like, I have worked across the globe and I see people from US behaving very different as compared to people from Southeast Asia, maybe a Philippines, etc. Or a person coming from China will be very different from a person coming from, let's say, an European country. I've also worked in the Middle East and I see several of them having very different orientations as compared to people from across the world. So this is so true. And these are just major geographical reasons that I've talked about. Even within a country like India, if one were to travel 3, 4, 500 kilometers, you will find very different ways that people will approach their life and their action orientation. So get educated, understand people, and that's a third thing that you need to solve. The fourth place where our perception challenges comes up is our own concept of emotions, love, connectedness, togetherness, compassion, empathy, respect, gratitude, many of these places. If we have positive ways of looking at these concepts, we will approach people with a lot more positively. But many of us have not learned all the lessons that we need to learn of gratitude, of compassion, of respect, of attention, of love, both giving and receiving. And when we are having these misplaced concepts, then again it becomes a big challenge when we connect with others and people are different from us. So a person who's loving and caring may see somebody who's strict as threatening, or the other way around, the person who's strict may see somebody who's loving and caring as very soft and mushy and impractical. It's not true. People with different orientations get success in life, but there are certain universal human values, especially around the softer aspects of life, like gratitude, respect, love, compassion, togetherness, familial environment. These are things that we need to learn as important lessons, because without human connection, no matter how much we want to succeed, we can only get ahead to a certain extent. Everything in our life, except for just the potential that we can develop for ourselves, needs others for us to be with us, to work with us, for us to be with them, work with them, for our success to come. So people and connections, if you have issues related to these, solve these, understand people, learn about these values, learn about these emotions, put these practices in, learn to be caring, loving, easy to live with. Drop your hostility, drop your judgments, drop your criticism. And these are some things where you will need to learn how to change your language, change your thinking, change the way of being. So education is a must. And here is one place where spiritual intelligence, spiritual anchoring will really, really help you. So be a part of some group that is doing deep correction around these kind of behaviors using spiritual understanding and knowledge. Kriya Yoga can help, Art of Living can help, Sahaj Yoga can help, Ashtanga Yoga can help, understanding of Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, scriptures can help, deep practices on Christian values can help, deep understanding of any other scriptures, Buddhism can help. So learn from there, right? The fifth place where challenges can come is around expression. The words that we use, the language that we use, the facial expressions that we have, the forums in which we communicate. Do we talk? Do we not talk? Much of this can also create perception challenges. And language is one of the biggest gifts that human beings have received, because we think in terms of the language that we have, we communicate with that language, we work, all the subject matters that are around us, all the progress that we have made is because of language constructs, both scientific and general language that we speak. And if you have issues related to that language, again, you will have a very big challenge. I was listening to the very, very famous physicist, Richard Feynman. He said something so beautiful. He said that we are in this very interesting translation game. Everybody thinks that they are saying something and the others are understanding it, but the others are translating it into the way that they see the world and then trying to understand what the other person is trying to communicate. He was so forthcoming in saying this, and coming from such a brilliant mind of our times, it is such an important reality that we need to understand, that this whole challenge of language and how we translate the other's message and understand it in our worldview, and that creates a lot of perception challenges again, right? So here, be a master of whatever language that you're going to use, whether it's your scientific language or it's your business language or just the regular language that we communicate in. Get that mastery, but you need to have one very important thing: focus and concentration. If you're not able to focus and concentrate in conversations, if you're not grounded enough to listen, understand, absorb, ask questions, get the other person's way of understanding, you will always have perception challenges. So master language and master being focused, and learn how to concentrate in conversations. That'll help you with these perception challenges. The next essential set of perception challenges come from the way that we perceive the world. And this is about our vision. This is about our visual intelligence. This is about the way we connect things, connect the dots. This is the way insights come up. This is the way we go beyond the obvious. Like when you look at someone, do you call him a beggar, him or her a beggar, or do you say that here is somebody who possibly has hit some hard times in life? Or when you look at somebody who's sitting in a very sad way, do you look at that person and want to inquire what is happening in that person's life? Or do you immediately put a label saying, oh, that person is so lazy, or he's always behaving like a victim, etc.? So are you someone who has these criticisms and judgments and positions that you take with life? Or are you someone who's very curious and who builds these connections, who goes beyond the obvious, who tries to get to the deeper level and deeper essence of understanding of life, and does this very proactively? So if you're not someone who's deep and proactive, you will have challenges. And unfortunately, in our distracted world, many people just don't have the time and the energy to be deep and connected. So yes, we have a lot of perceptual challenges here also. So majority of us, vast, unfortunate majority of us is busy criticizing, judging. The great psychologist, Sigmund Freud used to say this, that thinking is very difficult, Judging is very easy. So if you are in that bracket, which highly likely you, I, most of us are, even I have this challenge, then we will have a lot of perception challenges if we are not taking time to think clearly. The last but not the least, or maybe actually the comprehensiveness of this whole thing is about our concept of faith, our concept of hope, our connection with nature, our connection with divine, and the way we connect to the elements, etc. If you're someone who has deep faith, deep understanding of nature, of God, if you have that understanding on some higher power that's working, if you connect to chance, if you connect to luck, then you will not have perception issues related to those. But again, in our busy lives, many of us have even forgotten to pray. We have forgotten to have faith. We have forgotten to forgotten the concept that no matter how much we try, there is some divine force which is really helping us with doing things. Like, many people become boastful about their success. They say, I am a self-made person. I mean, is there anybody self-made in this world? Yes, you could have worked hard, but there are so many people, from the people who grew your food, who took care of you, or provided things to you, who have contributed to your success. And not just all of that, even the divine forces have. So if you're not connected to faith, if you're not connected to universal forces, then again, you'll have a lot of perceptive challenges with the world, right? So what do you do there? There again, your spiritual intelligence really, really helps. So these are the 7 buckets from where our perception related challenges will come. So I'll quickly repeat that. Your security related issues and your self-concept related issues. For both of these things, you will need to really seek help and change the conditions of your life and work on your mental noises. Your concept of action in life, which is where you will need to spend time to understand different ways that people approach situations. Your concept of emotions, love, appreciation, gratitude, compassion, etc., which is where learning human values, universal values, really, really helps. Your perception related challenges come from language and expression, and that's where you will need to master language, learn focus and concentration, and get things fixed. Your way of understanding the deeper meaning of life, going deep, which is where you will need to slow down, connect, develop the spiritual practice. And lastly, perception challenges coming from your lack of faith, belief in power, higher power, luck, chance, etc. And that's where again spiritual intelligence comes in handy. So work on yourself, work on your emotions, work on your thoughts, go deep, learn subjects, get deeper into spiritual practices. But definitely spiritual intelligence really, really helps. Like in the Bharatiya Sanskriti, if you go deep into Vedas, if you go deep into Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutras, all of this will give us deep understanding, including things like yoga, etc. Right? For those of you who are curious how I came upon these 7 classifications, some of this again comes from our own Vedic practices and the concept of chakras, or which are the consciousness centers. Many times people call these energy centers. No, they are not energy centers. They're centers of consciousness. So there are 7 consciousness centers. Some of this classification comes from there, but what I also helped you understand was from basic human psychology perspective. For those of you who are interested in deeper science, that's where this explanation came from. Hope this helps you. Get to work on yourself. Our perception challenges are not the problem with the world. Our perception challenges are challenge with our own software. Fix that, perceptions will get fixed over a period of time. Definitely with a lot more of maturation, with insights, with wisdom, you will do a lot better.